Man, you really creeped us out.
In the late 1960s, a mysterious killer began terrorizing parts of California. Unlike most criminals, this killer didn't try to hide from the public. Instead, he wrote letters to newspapers, proudly describing his crimes and challenging the police to catch him. He called himself the Zodiac Killer. The letters contained strange symbols, coded messages, and threats of more violence. Some of the codes took decades to solve, while others remain unsolved even today. Despite one of the largest investigations in American criminal history, the identity of the Zodiac Killer has never been confirmed. More than 50 years later, the mystery still fascinates investigators, journalists, and millions of people around the world. The first known Zodiac attack occurred on December 20, 1968, near Lake Herman Road. Two teenagers, David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen, were parked in a car in a quiet area when someone approached them. Without warning, the attacker opened fire on the couple. Both teenagers were killed at the scene. At the time, police believed it was a tragic but isolated crime. However, they had no idea that it would soon become part of a much larger and more disturbing pattern. Several months later, on July 4, 1969, another couple was attacked near Blue Rock Springs Park. The victims were Darlene Ferrin and Michael Mageau. The attacker fired multiple shots into their car. Ferrin died from her injuries, but Mageau survived and later described the attacker to the police. Shortly after the shooting, someone called the police department and calmly reported the crime, even giving the exact location of the attack. The caller also claimed responsibility for the previous murders on Lake Herman Road. But the most shocking moment came weeks later, when three major newspapers in California received letters from someone claiming to be the killer. The letters sent to newspapers contained disturbing details about the murders that only the killer could have known. Each letter also included a strange coded message made up of symbols and letters. The writer demanded that the newspapers publish the codes on their front pages, threatening more violence if they refused. The letters were signed with a mysterious crosshair symbol that soon became known as the mark of the Zodiac. Eventually, one of the coded messages was solved by a couple who enjoyed solving puzzles. The message revealed a chilling statement in which the killer claimed that he enjoyed killing people and believed his victims would serve him in the afterlife. These messages shocked the public and quickly made the Zodiac Killer one of the most feared criminals in America. In November 1969, another couple was attacked near Lake Berryessa. The killer approached wearing a strange black hood with the Zodiac symbol on it. He tied up the couple before stabbing them multiple times. One of the victims survived long enough to describe the attacker, giving investigators new clues about his appearance. After the attack, the killer calmly walked to the victim's car and wrote a message on the door that included the dates of his previous crimes. It was a chilling way of claiming responsibility for the murders. Police departments across California launched a massive investigation to capture the Zodiac Killer. Thousands of tips poured in from the public, and many suspects were investigated. One of the most famous suspects was Arthur Lee Allen, a man whose behavior and background raised serious suspicions among investigators. However, despite years of investigation, there was never enough evidence to officially charge him with the crimes. Fingerprints, handwriting analysis, and other forensic tests were examined, but none provided a definitive answer about the killer's identity. As suddenly as the killings had begun, the Zodiac eventually stopped. The letters continued for several years, but the confirmed murders ended. Over time, the messages became less frequent, and eventually they stopped altogether. Some investigators believe the killer may have died, moved away, or simply decided to stop. Others believe the truth has simply never been discovered. Today, the Zodiac Killer remains one of the most famous unsolved criminal cases in history. The strange letters, the coded messages, and the mysterious symbol continue to fascinate investigators and the public alike. Even after more than 50 years, one question still remains unanswered. Who was the Zodiac Killer?